Good afternoon, practice members. This is Dr. Chris from Danette Family Chiropractic. And today I'd like to introduce a topic that Dr. Dan and I have been dealing with a lot in our office, and that is sports injuries in children. So today we're going to talk about why they're occurring in much greater frequency than they have been, and what you can do as parents to help prevent them. And to help me do this, I have my friend, Coach Matt Ellis with me.
Hey,
Just to introduce Coach Matt, he is a competitive power lifter. He is a certified kettlebell instructor and a certified strength coach. He has been involved in sports his whole life. When I met him 18 years ago at Stonehill College, he was competitive in shot put, hammer, and discus.
yep.
After Stonehill, he worked at MF Athletic, and that's where he started formally coaching and holding camps for athletes. In 2010, he opened his own gym, which is called Primal Athletic Training Center in Cranston, Rhode Island. And he continues to train really high quality athletes. He has coached 16 Rhode Island state champions in the shot put and discus, and he's trained over 30 Rhode Island and Massachusetts all-state athletes in a variety of sports. So thank you so much, Matt, for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a topic I love to talk about. So anytime I can get out and help other parents out there to figure out what's going on with their kids' sports and overuse injuries and things like that, I am all for it.
So let's get into it. You've researched this a lot, and you deal with this firsthand a lot. So what have you seen at throughout your time at MF Athletic and at Primal?
I mean, basically, when it comes right down to it, more often than, really ever before, we have athletes who are now doing the same sport year round. And when you start at a very young age doing a sport year round, it's going to lead to overuse injuries. It's going to lead to burnout. It's going to lead to athletes who are just sort of worn out and worn down before it's really their time to get worn out and worn down. We used to see, juniors and seniors in college who were kind of getting sick of their sport and kind of saying, hey, when's the end? When's the light at the end of the tunnel? Now we have kids in 7th and 8th grade who are saying that and looking to change sports. And it's really becoming a epidemic, if I can use that word, in youth sports. And there's a lot of different reasons for it, but it's something that really needs to be talked about.
Absolutely. And from what we see in our office, I was just talking to a parent of a 16-year-old, and the 16-year-old is on their third ACL surgery. I mean, this is not just like straightening your ACL. This is an ACL reconstructive surgery, and at this point, they're wondering how much else they can do for it. And this is a 16-year-old. This is a 16-year-old kid that this kid still has the whole rest of her life to go on this ankle.
Right.
And already they don't know if she's going to be able to walk normally again. I mean, this is what we're seeing a lot in this office, and it's a huge problem. Kids were meant to do a variety of different movements and different activities. They weren't meant to do all these repetitive things season after season after season. So yeah. I'm glad we're talking about this. I was originally scheduling this to do in September, but people tend to sign their kids up in early August to start the fall activities. So I figured we'd have to move this talk up a little bit.
Yeah, and at least in Rhode Island, this week is tryout week for things like soccer, boys and girls in high school. Football has already been going for a couple of weeks. Volleyball tryouts for girls is happening right now. Cross country boys and girls practice is happening right now. So This is, even though we're in the middle of August, this is where a lot of high school sports start up, and then middle school sports are going to be starting up next week. So this is really a good time to talk about it before, kind of right at the very beginning of the season or right before the season begins.
So as a parent sitting here saying like my kid just loves to play soccer, so he wants to really do this team and that team, and so what would you say to this parent of, let's say, a middle school soccer player who just wants to just do soccer all the time? That's his or her passion, and the student just wants to do soccer.
Yeah, you picked a great sport because soccer is one of those sports where they could do it 12 months a year if they wanted to. Yeah. You've got your, fall soccer season. You then have like your indoor soccer that happens during the winter. And then there's all these different types of travel teams and things like that that happen during the spring and the summer. So soccer is a perfect example of, a sport where you can really overdo it. And my advice to parents is this. Number one piece of advice I give every parent is, what is the end goal? What is the goal of playing soccer? Maybe they want to play in high school. Maybe they want to play in college. Maybe they want to earn a scholarship. Then you have to take a look and kind of work backwards from there and say, what's going to get you to actually achieve that? So middle school soccer. For a middle school soccer player, I would have to assume, just like any other sport, whether it's basketball, baseball, softball, football, whatever it is that making the middle school team or making the high school team, that's probably at this day and time the sort of top of the mountain. Playing for like your town soccer league is not hard to do. You sign up and you pay. Playing for like a travel AAU team or whatever it might be, whatever sport it is not hard to do. You sign up and you pay, and then they put you on a team. The competitive or the most competitive thing that's going to happen in your town is playing for that middle school soccer team. So if that's the case, if that's the goal right now, make the middle school soccer team, what's going to get you to that goal? So you need to figure that out. You need to sort of like, reverse engineer how you're going to get that done. So if you're playing middle school soccer and that's the top of the mountain, that's it. So that doesn't mean, well, I play middle school soccer, but I play for my town and I play for my town's travel team and I play for an AAU team all in the same season. Because if the goal is to make the high school soccer team or to make the middle school soccer team, playing for the town's rec league is not going to help you do that if you're already on the team. All that's going to do is just be more games and more time and more soccer, which is going to lead to more injuries. So you've got to know, and this happens in basketball, softball, baseball. I mean, even now football, it's like you play football in high school. That's one season, right? Oh, but now we have spring ball, and now we have 7-on-7, and now we have football camps. And now football starts in July with, your Hell Week and your, practices and captain's conditioning practices, which is basically the coach telling the captains what to tell the kids to do. So you've got to know what's going to take you to that level. What's the goal? How do you get there and get rid of all the extra? If you get rid of all the extra, you're fine. It's totally okay.
And I think you've said this before. More isn't necessarily better. More is just more. I think.
Yeah, better is better.
Yeah, better is better.
Yeah. So if you want to eventually say, make the high school team, become all state, and go on to earn a college scholarship, your goal should be better. So instead of, okay, you made the middle school team, that's top of the mountain, and we also do this, and we also do this, and we also do this, and we also do that. Okay, are those other things that you also do going to help your athlete make the high school team? Probably not. But if the goal is to make the high school team, maybe there's one thing in there that can make them better. So maybe if they play for the rec league and they play for like their church or whatever it might be, if it's like basketball, maybe they go see like a soccer specific coach once a week. That's going to help them. But playing for a lower level league is not going to help them. Is it fun? Sure. Do they get to play with their friends? Sure. But is that going to get them to the goal? Something like we do here at Primal, we train athletes to get stronger, to get faster, to get more powerful, but to do so in a non-sport specific way. That's how you prevent injuries. You get yourself stronger, more flexible, more mobile. You take care of your body, you get your body stronger, and all of a sudden you're not having these overuse injuries. It's almost like preemptive physical therapy. It's like you got to take care of your body, like going to the dentist. If you just went to the dentist when your tooth hurts, like that's bad. You got to go to the dentist every 6 months to maintain so your teeth don't hurt. Same thing in here. You got to come in here, train. So maybe if it's play for the middle school team, train at a place like this 1 or 2 times a week, and then you're done. Because you're already good enough to make the middle school team. What's playing on the rec team going to do for you? Nothing. It's just going to be fun, but it's going to be excess and overuse, and you don't want that.
Especially playing with lower level players, it'll actually increase your likelihood that you'll probably get hurt.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt.
And in regards to coaches, coaches might be really, really good and know their sport really well, but they won't know the other things that the athletes can do in the gym to help prevent those injuries. They might give you gym time, but
Right.
they won't have the knowledge that you have about what muscle groups to specifically target, depending on the athlete.
Right. And that's
In
something
regards,
too.
I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say that's something too where we see a lot of the opposite, where you have coaches from the skill, like coaches from the sport. Like let's take soccer for example, and they say, "Well, I'm a soccer coach, so I know soccer better than anybody. We're going to do our own strength training. We're going to do our own, speed training, whatever it might be." But all it is just soccer-specific movements over and over and over again using different things. So it's okay. Instead of playing a game of soccer, we're going to set cones up on the field and you're going to sprint to that cone, sprint to that cone, sprint to that cone. Well, that's what you do during practice in a game. So it's still overuse. That would be like someone who plays baseball going, well, I'm not going to play baseball, but I'm going to swim and throw javelin. Okay, you're still using that shoulder. You're still using the heck out of that shoulder, aren't you? Yeah, but it's different. No, it's not really different. You do this thousands of times a week. Let's start doing some of this. Let's start using the opposite parts of that arm so that we can start to build strength. It's not just, well, or you get the kids that go, well, I play baseball. Okay, great. Well, but I'm not playing baseball right now. I'm just going to a hitting coach three times a week. Yeah, you're still playing baseball, dude. Like you're still doing the same exact movements. It's too sport specific. You need to go general. You need to back off, and kind of start doing things that you wouldn't necessarily do to give your body a rest and to strengthen it.
I can actually attest to that on a personal note because Coach Matt actually got me through the Boston Marathon when I ran it.
Yeah.
I think I'm probably one of the only athletes that I know of that got through the whole training, 6 months of training without any injuries, and that's because I actually didn't run every day. I had Matt come up with a really specific weight schedule for me, and I did those on my off days. And I also swim, and I also rode the bike. I did other things other than run.
Right.
And I think that was key. That was key.
Training, it was like,
yeah,
that's what it was. Cross training was doing stuff that didn't really, have anything to do with your sport, but just focused on your body. That's what it is.
Yep. And like I said, that was key for me to remain strong and injury free all throughout those long months of training.
Yeah. One of my favorite things in here is we have a special kind of workout, and we call it sort of our shoulder prehab workout. And where most athletes, if you're a shot putter, football player, whatever it might be, you do things like bench press and things like that to get the upper body stronger. You never really want something like a baseball player, softball player, swimmer, javelin thrower doing a bench press because it's going to put too much pressure on the shoulders, especially if they do it wrong, the weight's too heavy, their form gets off a little bit. So we have a shoulder specific day, a day that instead of doing that typical upper body workout, it's something more of like that prehab kind of pre-physical therapy, if you want to think of it that way, just kind of focusing on the shoulders. And my favorite thing are when parents of baseball players and softball players come in, we show that to them. And we go, look, just for your son, just for your daughter, we have this special day that we write every week. And it's meant specifically for baseball players, softball players, swimmers, javelin throwers, and volleyball players, people that come over the top. And they look at it and they go, well, I mean, nothing up there looks like what they do in softball. And I go, exactly, because you don't want to keep doing what they're already doing too much of. It's like when they say, well, he's on a pitch count. Okay, so what does he do the days he doesn't pitch? Well, he's also a catcher. All right, he's still throwing the ball back hundreds of times a game, probably throwing the ball back.
Just as much as the pitcher.
It's just as much as, if not more, because you've got the catcher who's maybe catching for two pitchers in the same game. He's playing the whole game, but the pitcher's only playing, 3 or 4 innings. So all of a sudden now you're doing twice as much work. It's like, well, but he wasn't pitching. Well, it doesn't matter if he wasn't pitching. He was still doing that same throwing motion hundreds of times. So did he really get a rest? Let's build up the other stuff around it. Don't go so specific. You got to stop doing all the specific training and do the general stuff that just going to physically make them a better athlete, not a better baseball player, a better all-around athlete.
Yep. And it's really that making them a better athlete that will continue until they're in college and will continue into their adulthood too. So they'll stay healthy.
Exactly. You don't. That's one of the worst things is when you see people who are, in their 20s and 30s that used to be this kind of higher level athlete that did all this stuff, and all of a sudden they start talking to them. They go, "Oh yeah, I've already had 2 knee surgeries.
Yep.
I already have issues with my elbow. When I go to the gym now, there's certain things I can't do because my shoulders are all messed up." And it's like, wow, that's 4 years of your life or whatever it was, and now for the rest of your life, you're going to be a mess and you're going to have surgeries and all this other stuff coming up because you didn't take a couple months off when you were in 8th grade. It's like, guys, let's think about the future here too.
Exactly. And God forbid they want to do something like electrical engineering or be like a plumber or anything, something that you're going to have to do this a lot throughout your career.
Yeah. And that too. And it's something too, where, if it's not done correctly, then that's going to wreak even more havoc on the body. So, you have kind of like the worst of the worst, if I was to say that, would be to take a sport, and I know I'm picking a lot on them, but take a sport like, for example, softball. And you have a softball like third baseman. So you got the girl on third base. She's been playing third base her whole life. Now all of a sudden, she starts going to all these clinics, and she's realizing, hey, for the past 3 or 4 years, my throwing form and technique has really been kind of a mess. So I need to change and fix that. And then all of a sudden the field gets bigger because they reach 7th grade. Now the field is a lot bigger. Now throwing from third to first is a lot farther than it used to be. So now they have their old technique, which is already programmed into their brain. That's how they've done it for years. They've got the new technique they're trying to learn. So that's kind of like they're trying to fix things as it's happening. And now the field is bigger. Well, what do you think is going to happen? All of a sudden, one day it's, my shoulder's hurting. I think I should ice my shoulder. Well, okay, but you didn't do things correctly. So maybe for a short time, you move that girl to shortstop or to second base for a few months as she's learning her form and technique. Maybe you do certain things like that to kind of try to combat it. But the answer that most people will say is, well, we're going to go out to the field 2 more nights a week, and dad's going to stand on first, and the daughter's going to stand on third, and we're going to work on this until she gets it. Yeah. It's like, nope, that's not the answer. The answer is to back off and do things differently, not do more, because more is not the answer. Better is the answer. Smarter is the answer. More is not to do it.
Yeah, and I see this all the time when athletes come to me, because athletes usually come to us after the fact. Mm-hmm. When they've already had injuries, and we as chiropractors can do a lot of them. We make sure that everything's in alignment, because if everything is in alignment, they're more coordinated. Their nervous system is working much better, and they can perform at a higher level. But at that point, it's more rehab. It's not really preventative at that point. And
not at all, yeah.
And their first question is, when can I get back? When can I get back on the field? When can I start throwing again? When can I do this? And there's really a timetable to it. And I tell people, the earlier that the kid is getting injured, the more time they should take off, because I know they're going to feel better soon, but they need that time to heal and to rest.
Right.
They shouldn't be jumping right out at it. And definitely before they go out and do the things that they did that got them injured in the first place, they should do something different, like a specific weight training protocol to get the area strong. Mm-hmm. Before they jump back into doing the sport again. And like I said, it's very hard to explain that to them, because they love their sport and they want to get back out there as soon as they can. But as you say, you gotta do better. And more is not necessarily better.
And that all comes back to, what's the goal? So if your goal is to earn a college scholarship and you're in 8th grade and you've got a little bit of elbow soreness, okay, is taking a week or 2 off because of elbow soreness going to in any way affect you getting a college scholarship in 5 years? Probably not. But people don't realize that, so they push through it and fight through it. They're being told a lot of things by a lot of different coaches saying, oh, you have to be on this team if. That's a whole other issue that we can talk about. But the way that I always explain it to parents is, Imagine that you are on a very, very, very long stretch of road. So say you're in Davenport, Iowa, and you can see where you're going. You can see the city is hundreds of miles away, and you're on a straight road going right to that city. And 5 miles into your journey, you get a flat tire. What are you going to do? You pull over and you change the tire. And yeah, it was a little bit annoying and it was a very inconvenient thing that happened. And now you're kind of mad and maybe your hands are a little dirty. But you know what? You're back on the road. Everything's okay. And you continue driving. What a lot of parents nowadays do is they're 5 miles into that journey. Boom, they get a flat tire. They say, well, forget it. I'm just going to keep driving. And then all of a sudden they keep driving and they keep driving. Tire gets all torn up. We can't plug that tire anymore. So now you're driving on the rim. And now your rim gets all beat up. And all of a sudden now you've got a broken axle. Your suspension's all messed up. Your engine starts to vibrate like crazy. Things start getting beat up. Your windshield cracks. Your alignment goes off. Your chassis is no longer square. All because you didn't pull over and fix the darn tire. You just kept on going and going and going, trying to push through it, and all this other stuff broke. Perfect example. I have an athlete in the gym right now. I love him to death. He's a catcher. We already talked about catchers.
Yep.
So he started getting a little bit of pain in his elbow because, again, he got finished playing for his school, and then he started playing for a summer league team, and he's a catcher, so he does not like he ever has a day off kind of thing.
Nope.
So he started getting a little bit of pain in his elbow. Well, instead of taking some time off and saying, hey, coach, I got to sit the bench for a couple weeks here. My elbow's killing me. His entire throwing form changed. So now what do you think is wrong? Now his shoulder hurts because he didn't pull over. Now he's got his elbow is still sore, and now his shoulder is sore. Guaranteed, if the season didn't end, his lower back would start hurting because now
that's going to go right to the spine.
Going to go right to it because now he has to change his position as he throws. Mm-hmm. So where before, all right, elbow sore, now elbow and shoulder, now elbow, shoulder, lower back. Then you start seeing hips and knees because the lower back is weird. Now they're walking, running, batting is all different. Then the knee hurts. Then the hamstrings hurt. Then this hurt. It's this constant.
It's a snowball.
It's just a snowball effect.
Yeah.
And it's like pull over and fix the tire before you blow up the whole car.
Yeah.
You know, pull over and fix it. You're early, 8th grade. Oh, you have to have surgery in 9th grade. Okay, that doesn't affect college.
Yeah.
Now, if you were halfway through your senior season and you blow out your ACL, that's going to affect college. If you're in 7th grade or 8th grade and, you know, you've got a sore elbow, take some time off. Maybe don't play fall ball this year. Just take it off. You'll be okay. Promise you will be okay. Making whatever team in 8th grade or sitting the bench in 6th grade is not going to affect the college coach that's going to be seeing you in 6-7 years. He doesn't even know that you exist yet. Don't worry about it. Take your time with it.
Awesome. So I know you're based in Rhode Island. Mm-hmm. If somebody in this area wanted to talk to you about training, do you have any kind of protocols for somebody who might be a little bit far from you?
Yeah, definitely. I do a lot of online training and a lot of online coaching as well, so they can certainly get in touch with me. I also have a network of other coaches that might be in their area, gym owners and people who specialize in this that can certainly help them out as well. But all you need to do is just go right to my website. All the contact info is up there. It's Primal ATC, like Athlete Training Center, primalatc.com. You can email me right from there. You get in contact with me right from there. Call, text, whatever you want to do. I answer everything.
And I will also put the contact information in the comments section of this interview for those who want to get in touch with you.
Awesome.
So any parting thoughts? So takeaway messages. If it's injured, relax it. Definitely see a strength training coach like yourself.
Exactly. And I think the other big thing that parents have to realize is who is in control. So you're a parent, you are in control, not your athlete and not their coach. Okay? Because every coach out there is going to promise you, especially for a high level, high cost travel team type thing, every coach out there is going to promise you that the only way that your son or daughter is going to get to college is if they play on his team. Well, there are hundreds of different colleges out there that are all offering millions of dollars in scholarships. They're not all coming from that one team. So if the coach is telling you you have to stop playing high school baseball or softball or basketball or whatever because we need you healthy for our team, the only way you're going to make it to college is through me, they're lying to you. You are the parent. You have the power. You and your athlete should be controlling where they play, who they play for. And if it smells kind of rotten, it probably is. So try to just use your brain, back off a little bit, see if it's something that doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, get away from it, find another place.
And as the parent, you know you're the gatekeeper for your child, and you have to be kind of the kind of like the neutral party, because the coach is going to be really passionate, your athlete's going to be really passionate. You have to protect your athlete and
Exactly.
do what's best for him or her.
And you have to sometimes put your foot down and let them know, hey, this is the deal. This is what we're doing. I know you like playing basketball and playing softball, and both of those happen during the summertime, but you got to pick one.
Yep.
They might not want to pick one, but as a parent, you got to be able to tell them, look, you have basketball and softball practice on the same night. You're going to go half to one team, half to the other team, and make both coaches angry. You're going to go to half of your tournaments on the weekends with the softball team, half of your tournaments on the weekend with the basketball team, and make all your team upset because they're not doing as well without you. Pick one. Stick with one. Don't try to fit in a bunch of stuff, plus summer vacations, plus family time, plus relaxing, plus schoolwork, plus extracurricular clubs. Just back it off a little bit. Play for the best team you can possibly play for. Play one sport per season, and that's all you need. That is the magic formula.
Awesome. All right, Matt, thank you so much for doing this, for being here today with us. So much great information. As I said before, we're going to put your information at the bottom for anybody who wants to get in touch with you. I highly recommend it. Even if you're an adult and want to run a marathon, get in touch with Coach Matt. I can attest that he is fantastic.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And yeah, if anybody has any questions, reach out. We're all over the place on social media, but go right to the website. My personal cell phone is right up there. Give me a shout.
Cool. All right. As always, we're here to help and serve you in any way we can. This is Dr. Chris from Danette Family Chiropractic in Easton, and I hope you guys make it a wonderful week. Thank you.